Have you ever had an invisible guest? Wait, that was our last movie. Let's try this again. Have you ever woken up after a long night, feeling like you were tied down, only to discover that you were tied down by thousands of tiny, angry people, no taller than your thumb? This is not a nightmare. This is the peak of imagination. Today, we are traveling back to 1939, to the golden age of cinema. This is the story that was meant to challenge Disney, the breathtaking Technicolor masterpiece from Fleischer Studios, Gulliver's Travels. This is not the dark, satirical novel by Jonathan Swift. This is that novel taken, washed clean, and reborn as a bright, musical, comedic adventure. This is the story of how one giant man stopped the smallest and most ridiculous war in history. First, we must meet our hero, Lemuel Gulliver. Gulliver is not an adventurer. He is not an explorer. He is an ordinary English sailor, the lone survivor of a terrible shipwreck. He is, by all accounts, a normal man. He is also, to the people of Lilliput, a mountain-sized monster. He is the problem that the tiny world doesn't know how to solve. And then there is Lilliput, a magical kingdom where the houses are smaller than doll houses, the castles are tiny, and the people are no taller than your finger. Lilliput is ruled by the proud, stubborn, and comically short-tempered King Little. And then there is his rival, King Bombo of the neighboring kingdom, Blefuscu. Bombo is just as stubborn and just as quick to anger. These two miniature kingdoms have been on the brink of total war for years. Why? Land? Gold? Resources? No, because of a song. This is the central conflict. King Little's daughter, Princess Glory, and King Bombo's son, Prince David, are in love. They want to get married and unite the two kingdoms. But their fathers cannot agree on which national anthem to play at the wedding. Lilliput's anthem is Faithful. Blefuscu's anthem is Forever. The prince and princess suggest a compromise. Combine the two songs into one, Yidel Faithful in Forever. Their fathers hate this idea. It is an insult, a betrayal of tradition, and so, on the very day of the wedding, the two kings declare war on each other over a piece of music. It is into this ridiculous chaos that Gulliver washes ashore. Our story begins in the middle of a terrifying storm. The ship is torn apart by the waves. Gulliver, our hero, is the only survivor. He clings to wreckage, exhausted, and finally washes up on a mysterious beach. He collapses, unconscious. He wakes up, and he cannot move. Before we continue this incredibly colorful adventure, if you love the nostalgic magic of these classic animations, hit that subscribe button right now for Silver Screen Tales. Gulliver opens his eyes. The sun is bright. He is tied down. Thousands of tiny, impossibly strong ropes cover his entire body, staking him to the sand. And then he sees them. Hundreds of tiny figures, like little toy soldiers, climbing all over him. He is a giant, captured by an army of ants. The panic in Lilliput is total. The town crier, a tiny, fast-talking, perpetually panicked man named Gabby, is the first to find the giant on the beach. He screams. He runs back to the castle of King Little. Gabby bursts into the throne room at the exact moment King Little and King Bombo are declaring war over the wedding songs. The wedding is canceled. The war is beginning. Gabby runs in, screaming at the top of his tiny lungs. There's a giant on the beach. He's a monster. He'll eat us all. King Bombo, thinking this is some kind of trick, storms out of the castle in a rage, readying his navy for the attack. King Little is terrified. His kingdom now faces two threats: the enemy fleet from Blefuscu and a living mountain on his beach. But King Little quickly realizes, what if this giant isn't a threat? What if he is an opportunity? The war between the two tiny kings has been interrupted by the arrival of a real giant. King Little now has a secret weapon. The question is, will this gentle giant be used for peace, or will he be used to win the most absurd war in history? The effort to move Gulliver from the beach to the town is a massive, comical, engineering miracle. 10,000 Lilliputians work together, using a massive rolling cart, pulling the sleeping giant, who they still believe is a monster, into the town square. When Gulliver finally awakens, he is surrounded. He gently breaks the ropes. The tiny soldiers panic, firing thousands of tiny arrows that bounce harmlessly off his skin. Gulliver, seeing them, realizes he must be gentle. He is a good man. He does not want to hurt these tiny, angry people. He proves his kindness. King Little, seeing that the giant is friendly and can be useful, declares him a friend of Lilliput. Gulliver is given a massive meal, hundreds of tiny chickens, thousands of tiny loaves of bread. He becomes the town celebrity. But King Bombo, the enemy, is not happy. He hears that Lilliput now possesses a giant. He fears this new war machine. Bombo hires 3 spies, Sneak, Snoop, and Snitch, 3 bumbling, identical henchmen. Their mission: to sneak into Lilliput and assassinate the giant. This begins the 9,000 word core of the film. The blend of high-stakes drama and hilarious slapstick. Gulliver, meanwhile, discovers the truth of the war. He meets Prince David of the enemy kingdom and Princess Glory of Lilliput, who are meeting in secret in the woods. They explain their plight to the giant, telling him the war is only about their fathers being too stubborn to combine 2 songs. Gulliver, seeing the absurdity of this, vows to help the young couple. He must find a way to stop this stupid war. At the same time, the 3 spies, Sneak, Snoop, and Snitch, begin their attempts to kill Gulliver. This is pure comedy. The spies are tiny. Their attempts are hopeless. They load a massive catapult, which to Gulliver is the size of a pebble shooter, and fire it at his head while he sleeps. It just bounces off. They try to poison his drinking water, but they only have 1 tiny drop of poison, which does nothing. Their masterpiece of failure, however, is their attempt to use Gulliver's own pistol, which washed ashore from the shipwreck. The pistol is ancient. The spies find it. They spend hours polishing it, aiming the giant cannon, Gulliver's gun, at the sleeping giant. They manage to light the fuse. The resulting explosion only succeeds in blowing the 3 spies backward, leaving Gulliver completely unharmed. King Bombo, furious that the assassination failed, decides to launch his final attack. He sends his entire naval fleet, hundreds of battleships, to invade Lilliput and destroy the giant. This brings us to the climax of the film. The alarm sounds. Gabby the crier runs through the street screaming, "The fleet is coming! The fleet is coming!" The tiny soldiers of Lilliput panic. They are doomed. But Gulliver stands up. He is no longer just a guest. He is their protector. He walks calmly to the ocean. To the Lilliputians, it is a vast sea. To Gulliver, it is a shallow bay. He wades into the water, which only comes up to his waist. The entire Blefuscudian fleet approaches, firing thousands of tiny cannons, which just bounce off Gulliver like mosquitoes. Gulliver ignores the attack. He reaches down. He grabs the anchor chain of the first ship. He ties it to the anchor chain of the second ship. He loops the third, the fourth, the 10th. In a matter of minutes, the gentle giant has tied the entire enemy navy together, like a string of Christmas ornaments. And then he stands up and pulls. With one single movement, Gulliver drags the entire enemy fleet, hundreds of ships, filled with thousands of terrified soldiers, onto the shores of Lilliput. He has defeated an entire army without hurting a single person. The war is over. This is the resolution. Gulliver, the giant, now stands between the two stubborn kings, King Little and King Bombo. He holds one king in each hand. He forces the two tiny, arrogant men to listen to their children. He makes them listen to the combined song, Faithful in Forever. The kings, defeated and humiliated, and seeing that the song is actually quite beautiful, finally agree. They shake hands. The war is over. The wedding happens. Prince David and Princess Glory are married, uniting the two kingdoms. Gulliver's work is done. Using the captured fleet, which the kings give him, the Lilliputians help him build a new massive boat human-sized. Gulliver sails away, waving goodbye to the tiny kingdom he accidentally saved. This brings us to the analysis. Gulliver's Travels, 1939, is a vital piece of animation history. While it was overshadowed by Disney, the Fleischer Studio created a visual masterpiece. This was only the second cel-animated feature film ever made in America, after Snow White. But the story is the real lesson. The original Jonathan Swift novel was a dark, bitter satire, attacking human politics and arrogance. The Fleischer film keeps this one central theme, but makes it accessible to everyone. The war between Lilliput and Blefuscu is the most absurd war in history. They are fighting over which song to play at a wedding. This is a direct, powerful critique of human nature. How many real wars have been fought over similarly meaningless traditions, or disputes over which side of the bread is buttered? Released in 1939, this message was terrifyingly relevant, as the real world was descending into World War II, a war of massive egos, nationalism, and ideology. This animated film was quietly suggesting that all war is at its core as ridiculous as the fight between King Little and King Bombo. It suggests that our conflicts, which seem so huge to us, are tiny, absurd arguments between tiny people, and that we just need a giant, a larger perspective, to see the truth. Gulliver is the ultimate pacifist hero. He has the power of a god. He could have crushed the enemy fleet with his foot. Instead, he defeats them without causing a single casualty. He wins the war by refusing to fight it. This film teaches us that true strength is not the power to destroy. It is the power to show restraint and the wisdom to find a common song.